Welcome to another episode of the Live Today show right here on CAN TV Channel 21. I'm Dr. Cherie, and I am your host of the Live Today show and founder of the Live Today Foundation, where our mission is to provide joy and inspiration to cancer survivors and patients living with lymphedema. I found that as a breast cancer survivor and as an individual living with lymphedema, there was were poor resources out there for education and awareness regarding lymphedema within the medical community and certainly when it came to patient knowledge. And so I founded the Live Today Foundation to do three things. One, to educate physicians and other healthcare practitioners on how to properly diagnose lymphedema and to make them aware of all of the psychosocial impacts of lymphedema on a survivor's life. Number two, to educate lay people, to educate the patients living with lymphedema about the importance of treatment. And number three, to provide free compression garments, which is the mainstay of treatment to under resourced cancer survivors and patients living with lymphedema. We are so grateful to CAN TV Channel 21 for allowing us this space to come into your homes and to give you pointers on not only how to live with lymphedema, but as the title of our foundation states, the Live Today Foundation, we are also here to help you learn how to live today and every day. And so on today, I'd like to share with you the importance of telling your story. Yeah, you may wonder, what is Dr. Cherie coming from now talking about telling your story? Well, see, the Live Today Foundation, like I stated, we're here to provide joy and inspiration. And part of providing that joy and inspiration is giving you the tools necessary to allow you to cope and allow you to move past drama, trauma, and all those negative things that happen in your life. Sometimes there are even positive things that happen to our lives, but it can be so overwhelming we don't know how to cope with that change. And the Live Today Foundation is here to help you do just that. Now, if you want to know more information about the Live Today Foundation, please go out to our website at www.live-today.org. If you know of an individual who is in need of compression garments, and maybe you yourself, you need compression garments and you are facing financial difficulties during this time, please send us an email at info@live-today.org. Just let us know what you need, and we will do our best to supply what it is you need. And if we don't have those resources, we're going to go out and find out exactly where to get you the help that you need. But back to telling your story. Now, we all know we are living in a unique time period in our lives right now, and things have quote unquote been shut down. You may find yourself working from home. You may find yourself not working at all. You're living with newfound stories in your life that you hadn't imagined. You hadn't imagined being at home with your children and not being able to get them to daycare. You hadn't imagined being diagnosed with cancer or diabetes or high blood pressure in the midst of a pandemic, and now you cannot get into your doctor's office like you were accustomed to doing. Or you may find that there were things that happened to you in the past that are impacting how you are managing through this time because the story that you had back then wasn't shared, wasn't told, wasn't dealt with. And now all of those feelings and emotions that are compounded by that drama and that trauma from years ago now synergistically are creating this massive tsunami in your life because now you're living in a new environment that none of our minds could have wrapped our heads around. And so I know for me that during this time, sharing my story it has been extremely important, not only for me, but to other individuals. And then it dawned on me, this is probably something that I need to share on the Live Today show. And so I pray that you are using this time as a time of reflection, a time to be still and listen to God and to others, and a time for seeking. seeking out a new vision or path for your life, seeking out what's truly important for your health and wellness and your well-being for you and your family, and seeking out your purpose in life. I'll ask you this. Have you ever thought about sharing your life story? Has that ever dawned on you to do that? Whether that's simply in a YouTube video, an Instagram post, a Facebook post, Facebook Live, or like me, writing a book. You may be thinking that who would want to hear my struggles or successes or all the things that I've experienced? Well, let me tell you, from based upon my experience, thousands upon thousands want to hear it, because not only do they want to hear it, but the reason why they're going to want to hear it, it's not from a gossipy, want to get in your business perspective. They want to hear it because they're going to be helped by what you have shared. I promise you. I want to share with you some reasons that will hopefully give you a new perspective on the importance of sharing your personal story with the world. One, sharing your story in whatever way is a great way to reflect on what happened. You can now take the time to reflect and acknowledge everything that happened, how it made you feel, what you did, and the way this experience influenced your present life. Sometimes when you take the time to go through the things you've experienced again, you can explore it in a new way that you hadn't thought of it before. And we can learn new lessons from things that have happened that can have a positive influence on how we live right now. Even if a lot of time has already passed, life can be fast and demanding. We fight through all the challenges that occur. But when do we really take the time to reflect on those things that have happened? Sharing with others shifts your perspective and thus changes the way you look at that experience. And this new experience just might open up a new learning from that situation, something you didn't see right after it happened, something that you weren't ready to really understand at that time. But now, with some time in between, it all makes sense. Sharing your stories with others is an amazingly powerful way of healing yourself. Consider it an option for complete closure, even if it happened years ago. Secondly, not only do you help and heal yourself or find closure in the experience, but you yourself will now inspire and support others by sharing your story. Imagine the last time when you really felt alone with the struggle in your life. Wouldn't it have been amazing if you knew that, one, that there were other people out there that were experiencing the same thing you were experiencing, or better yet, who had overcome your present situation? And take it a step further, what about if they gave you the tools and tips that they used to finally overcome? Wouldn't that have been a blessing in your life if you could have gone out, listened to someone else's story, and now taken step by step, applied some of their life learned lessons to your situation and have been able to use their life lessons through your situation? Well, I'm asking you to consider telling your story, sharing what you did to overcome your past situation, and you may even have some new insights to that situation now in light of our current present situation. And now you can be a blessing to others by sharing your story, giving them tips on how they could overcome. And now you are the individual that can help orchestrate how individuals get through their life struggles. You can better overcome what you're going through when the focus gets off of you and it gets on being a blessing to somebody else. Really, at the root of the matter is placing yourself in a place of service, Because as you are meeting other needs, I promise you, God is there and He's going to send people in your life to fulfill the needs that you have in order to get you through that circumstance, that situation, that experience. Sometimes it's not enough to know that we are not alone in our struggles, but imagine how much more comforting it is to receive guidance through your storm from someone who has already navigated through it. Number three, sometimes it's going to be you that needs to open up about a conversation that other individuals shy away from. Some of you may need to open a new conversation um, that may be loaded with topics that imply judgment, shame, or something else that people may shy away from sharing what they have been through. And we've all experienced embarrassing moments, and we will continue to as long as we live. But not talking about them doesn't absolve the fact that they happened. Being silent while in a precarious situation keeps you alone, doesn't allow you to find others like you, and keeps an unnecessary cloud of shame looming over you, because usually you'll find that once you share, it's not as nearly as embarrassing as you thought. It's not nearly as shaming or as disappointing as your mind had led you to believe. And then once you fully share, realize that there are other individuals out there feeling the same way as you can now not only find comfort in, you know what, that was not as bad as I thought. I was ashamed of something that there was no reason for me to be ashamed of. Uh, I'm just baffled by the number of individuals who, out of no fault of their own, are now unemployed because of the circumstances of the pandemic. And they are living in silence because they are ashamed of something that was completely out of their control. Men ashamed because they're scared, they're concerned about how they're going to be able to care for their families because they've lost their jobs. Well, I've had to go out there and get in their face and admonish them to share, because not only sharing opened up the ears of individuals that was listening to them, and now they pointed them to resources to help get them income and revenue that they needed to hold on to their houses, hold on to their apartments, hold on to their cars, be able to keep their kids in private schools. So trying to suffer through it alone, being embarrassed that you don't have a job in the midst of the pandemic when you were let go or terminated because your employer just couldn't keep you on. You may find that that was embarrassing, but what these men found out was that there were men within a 20-mile radius, tons of them, experiencing the same thing. But once their stories were shared, now they got additional resources. And now, where one wasn't eligible for a resource, they shared it with others, and now somebody else that was eligible for the resource, they were able to get that. And so now they were able to keep their homes, they were able to keep their cars, they were able to continue to eat. And now they realized that they were ashamed about something that had no cause to be shamed at all. And lastly, number four, by telling your story openly, owning it, and showing the world where it has brought you, it empowers you and it empowers others to speak up too. I mean, think about it, the Me Too movement. I mean, one person started to open the conversation, a few more joined, and all of a sudden, it became an international known movement. Or when kids were separated from their parents by the US government, within a matter of days, the entire planet was doing whatever was in their power to stop it, all because a few people spoke up about what was happening. There is much more power in sharing our stories than we often think. Often we don't even see that people are watching us, but they do. They always do, more than we recognize. We are role models to everyone watching us, whether we like it or not. We just need to decide what type of role model we want to be. What is it that we want to model? What is it that we want to teach the people around us? In what way do we want to inspire them? Because at the root of it all, we all do. We all want to be inspired, and we all want to be a source of inspiration. If it is just our neighbor, the person behind us in line at our favorite coffee shop, or a person overhearing a conversation we have on the phone with someone, people hear us and they see us. And every time they do, we get the chance to teach them something. Your story may not be a big screen blockbuster, but it is a story worth telling. God has done some great things in your life that only you can tell. God has seen you through things that only you know. God has sustained you when you were unable to go on, and He has strengthened you when you wondered if you could take one more step. He has written on your life and on your heart a great story, and you need to tell it. You made it to today, and there is so much more to come. So make it great. Tell your story and the amazing things that God has already done, because we are all on a journey. So if you, like me, have seen your best laid plans shredded right before your eyes, I pray that you will hear me good. Tell your story and don't be discouraged because things are not going as you planned. We all want to see things get better, but where we are right this minute does not have to completely disturb us. We can learn to be content, but not satisfied to the point where we never want to see anything changed. But we can have the assurity that things are working together for our good and that we will see the results of it in due time. Now, don't forget, if you want to know more about the Live Today Foundation, you got to go out to our website at www.live-today.org to get all the information about us. If you are in any way curious about what I have laid out to you today, how can you get free compression garments? Go out and shoot us an email at info@live-today.org. Follow us on all social media handles. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at livetoday.org. That's livetoday.org. And all of our episodes are on our YouTube channel at the Live Today Show. So you can also go back and watch all of our previous episodes. But I really want you guys to be aware and take to heart during this time. In this pandemic, with our racial divide, with our economy, new election coming up, and all of your past drama, trauma, triumphs, victories, disappointments, share your story. It may not be your full life story. It may be that great, big, significant one when your mom died, like me, when you were diagnosed with cancer, like me, when you were divorced, like me, when you were concerned about your children and the impact of divorce and remarriage, like me. Whatever little snippets you can share, share, because there are thousands of individuals like you who now, in this new realm of physical distancing, our social networks and technology is giving us, I mean, it's the footprint. It is the groundwork has already been laid for us to just get out there, pop out there, and share our stories. Individuals from the on the other side of the globe are experiencing exactly what you are experiencing. but maybe their network is small. There are places that have the access to technology, but their actual physical communities are small. And so they may be the only individuals in their small community diagnosed with breast cancer initially. But by sharing that story, because 1 in 8 of women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime, when it makes it to that next 1 in 8 in her community, his or her community, now because they shared their story, that person now has a contact and now they know that they are not alone. We have to experience and feel this element of community within our lives. Without it, we will disintegrate. And some of the areas that we are looking to grow and to improve and to expand, instead, we will find ourselves pulling back and enveloping ourselves in a hole and not sharing and being silent. This is not the time to shoot off at the mouth and say just anything that you want to do and cause harm. What I'm talking about is sharing your real life story, how you've overcome it. And maybe you're not fully over, maybe you're not an overcomer at this point. Maybe you're still going through, but share where you are, because I promise you there are other individuals out there that will be able to take your hand and walk you through it. Our little nests of security, they are not our security. And God is more concerned with our character than he is our comfort. And he allows the events of our lives, which seem so cruel, to re educate us. And he sometimes drives us right into his arms when we are scurrying around to find security everywhere else. Don't quarantine your story. Experience it, share it, watch it spread and heal. I so greatly appreciate you allowing me to come into your home, your office, wherever you are. Maybe some of you have an opportunity to watch this episode while you're sitting out on a beach where you can physically distance and get some fresh air while you're learning and listening about the importance of telling your story. I'm Dr. Cherie, and I'm the host of the Live Today show and the founder of the Live Today Foundation. You have just watched another episode of the Live Today show, hosted right here on CAN TV Channel 21. Again, I want you to remember to be present, take charge of your life, and live today and every day.